Well, somebody has done a good job, and that is President Trump, and it is this economy. I mean,
you think he's done a good job on reining in spending, on reining in? I give him high marks on the tax cuts and cutting the regulations.
You know, you've
and
got to work this thing out with the president, Neil. But meanwhile, here is the reality.
Fact. Do you think this president has done anything to contain the deficits and the debt that has spiraled still from what levels he had from Barack Obama?
I do, and indeed. We are at the...
What has he done to address it, Lou?
Well, let's go through a couple of issues. Deregulation, which has raised productivity, which has raised economic growth.
But I'm talking about deficits and debt.
Wait a minute, Neil. You've asked me a question, and I really need to answer it, please.
All right, let's get it in there.
And furthermore, you're looking at unemployment in this country at historic lows. And by the way, it is shared prosperity. It is not only shared prosperity. We are looking at record low unemployment for every minority group in this country.
I said that at the outset.
And
Lou, what about now with the deficit and the debt?
Forgive me, I didn't interrupt you, Neil, and you've done it to me now twice. And thirdly, you're looking at an unemployment rate that is closing a gap on the unemployment rate between minorities and whites in this country, which is the exact right direction.
Lou, we know all that. What has changed on the deficit and the debt?
I don't know what you know.
No.
You asked me a question. I'm giving you an answer.
I'm asking you a question about the deficit and debt. Do you worry about that or not? If you don't, that's fine. Just say I don't worry about it.
Neil, if you'll review the video, you'll note that I'm the one who raised the issue.
This is Fox News' Neil Cavuto and Lou Dobbs going at it over the exploding deficit under Trump. And look, I'm sure Cavuto is used to some heavy pandering on his network, but to suggest that Trump is doing anything to rein in our completely untenable situation with the deficit is just plain absurd, even for Lou Dobbs. The deficit hit its highest point ever under Trump at nearly $1.1 trillion this year, with the debt reaching a record $22 trillion. And this is the direct result of both the GOP tax cuts for the ultra-rich and the out-of-control military spending. The tax cuts included lowering the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%, which Republicans promised would spur wage growth. But wage growth has been middling at best, only recently rising above inflation. Not only that, but corporate tax revenue has shrunk considerably, and even Republican leaders have conceded that the tax cut won't pay for itself. And while military spending under Obama held steady between $500 and $600 billion per year throughout the previous administration, Trump has raised it to over $750 billion. And his primary justification is to claim that the military was withering under Obama and that we were somehow less safe as a result. But that couldn't be further from the truth. In reality, America's military spending completely dwarfs the rest of the world, with the US spending more than the next 7 to 11 countries combined. And essentially all of them except for Russia are allies. So to claim then that we're not safe is just lazy political theater. There's a difference between spending and wasting, and I'll let you guess where dumping the vast majority of our tax dollars into overpriced weaponry lands on that spectrum. And yet still, Republicans will undoubtedly point to Obama as justification to absolve Trump, that somehow Obama wasn't criticized for deficit spending while Trump is. But Obama had the Bush recession to contend with. You have to increase spending and as a result add more debt when the economy is weak, and then pay off that debt when the economy recovers. And now we've clearly recovered, but Trump has not only not paid off the debt, but actually enacted economic policies that explode it. And economics aside, Trump literally ran on the pretense of eliminating the national debt.
Also making history, remember as candidate, Donald Trump promised to get rid of the national debt, telling the Washington Post in 2016 he could make the U.S. debt-free over a period of 8 years.
And while Trump lying to get into office is less than newsworthy these days, for him to actually explode it to give himself a tax cut is beyond hypocritical. And the fact is, Obama inherited this recession. He inherited the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. He inherited the rendering permanent of the Bush tax cuts. And he inherited increased Medicare and Social Security spending as the baby boomers continued to age. And still managed to get the US out of a recession, still saw 76 straight months of growth, still achieved a lower annual average deficit than Trump when you compare Obama's second term to Trump's first. For the last 4 years of Obama's presidency, including the budget of 2017, which was Trump's first year in office but Obama's budget, the deficit averaged $543 billion per year. Trump's deficits over his first term will average $939 billion. So if we have a $22 trillion debt now in a strong economy, just imagine what it's going to look like when we actually have to increase the spending to jumpstart a weak economy. We're running the tread completely off our tires, so Republicans really can't be surprised when the car won't stop if we have to slam on the brakes. But all of this points to one shameful truth, that Republicans don't actually care about the deficit, that fiscal responsibility is the excuse they use to sanctimoniously grandstand to stop Democrats Democrats from getting funding for progressive programs. And then when the GOP takes over, it's once again exploding deficits, expensive wars, and endless borrowing. So when the next Democrat takes the White House, you can fully expect Republicans to screech about unhinged Democratic spending and socialist programs, but the GOP has already shown their true colors when it comes to their ability to manage our economy.